Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Chronically Healthy Life show. I'm Christy Boyd Johnson, and I'm here today with Andy Nam and Amanda Beth. And this is going to be a very different and special episode because our co founder, Andy's lovely wife, Minna, and my dear friend, and our dear friend, has passed away, which you may know from our posts and magazine. And we thought we would like to do a tribute to Minna and also explain some things that are going to be changing with our show. So I'd like to start by just remembering Minna. She is a person who, well, I'm going to just talk personally. I've known Andy and Minna, I think for 10 or 12 years. I can't even remember. It was so long ago that we met each other at some conference with a million people. It seemed like there were just like hundreds of people at this conference. And I happened to stand in line with right behind Andy and Minna, and we struck up a conversation, and the rest, as the cliche goes, was history. And I was really struck right from the beginning that, well, it's always very clear for any of you who know Andy and Minna that Andy's the talker and Minna's the quiet one. But that didn't really matter because there was this very special energy with them that it was just so pleasant and so inviting, and I just felt so good being in their presence. We hung out together for the rest of that conference, went to all of our meals together, and we stayed in touch, even though at that time they were living in Northern California and I was living in San Diego. And we've stayed in touch and been friends. And then about 4 years ago, Andy and Minna called me up and said, "We have an idea." And so we talked about this show, the idea of the Chronically Healthy Life show. We brainstormed names for the show and we brainstormed all kinds of things. And the whole idea was that we three really wanted to bring the idea that we have power over our own lives in every way, and that is health. We can be healthy in our bodies, our minds, our emotions, our spirit, everywhere, our finances, our community, and that's what we set out to do. And although Andy's kind of the driving force behind the tech part of it, I think Minna was the driving force behind the actual concept and idea of spreading awareness and helping people and supporting people by just talking about it, just opening a conversation. And this was the platform for that. So I can't even put in words. And you'll have to forgive us if we get emotional because this has been a really rough time for us. But I can't even put into words how much these two people have meant to me. And then to add to that, we brought together the collective in a community that have supported us through this whole thing and made it so that we could continue. So, Amanda, I'm going to shift it over to you because I need to shift it over to you right now.
Um,
uh,
so I first met Andy and Minna, and it's one of those couples that you always say Andy and Minna. No matter who you're talking about, you always talk about both of them. And I was new in launching my spiritual business. I had just published a book, and I knew Christy through one of our other networking ideas, and Christy was also a developmental editor for me, so she knew me. And my book was published, and I'm like really wanting to get out and hit the podcast, uh, the whole thing. And I had had one podcast, and quite frankly, it scared me. The fellow who did it was really scary, and I was telling Chrissy, "It's like, oh my gosh, is this how it's going to be?" And she was like, "No, no, 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 no. I will get you on Chronically Healthy Life with Andy and Minna, and this is your spot. This is where you're going to be." I'm like, "Oh." Okay, and I think the first interview that I did, I think because I've done 2 or 3 interviews for Chronically Healthy Life, and I remember one of those very first interviews I ever did, Minna was interviewing me, and so I had that opportunity for her to just be as graceful as she could be in interviewing somebody who was so new to the whole podcasting thing. And she just really welcomed me in and made it really easy for me to do that podcast. And I knew after that experience that I could do that. And I now have a couple hundred podcasts under my belt, and that's just been a few short years. But I always think back to the patience and the grace that Minna had for me. She asked some really tough questions, and when I just had that deer in the headlights thing, she had that way of bringing it around and bringing it back and just keeping it real and allowing me to be me while she continued to host this show and make a difference. And then after that is when the Chronic Health Collective came along, and Andy invited me into that whole arena to be a part of other coaches and other like minded people to um, let people know that there are ways that we can take care of ourselves and do things. I know when I first opened my float pod, I said, people are going to have to learn how to eat grass and take care of ourselves. Um, and this is a absolutely safe place where Andy and Minna brought together some amazing coaches to help everyone to find their niche in life. And not that all of the coaches we don't all necessarily agree. We agree to disagree on things, but it's been a great family atmosphere for us, a place for everyone to come together to share, to bring guests in, and I know I've recommended some people to the show. Hey, these people got some really neat stuff, and I think the whole world needs to know about it. And that's what the Chronically Healthy Life to me did. It really brought some amazing people out of the woodwork and allowed us to be seen and to be heard and supported. So it is a big shift. It's a big shift for all of us. It's sudden, and I feel honored to be a part of this this show to commemorate that, and so that we can all remember what Minna brought to the table and help us as we go forward, deciding what things are going to be next and how that works for everybody.
Andy, I would really love it if you'd share what because you guys talk so much about the vision that you had for bringing the this show and the collective together.
Definitely. 4 years ago, like you said, Minna was the driving force behind this. She knew that I was a talker and, we'll make it work. This is coming out of COVID. So much have happened over COVID, and so many lives were changed over COVID. And not going to go and talk about that anymore because it's gone and passed. But so many things could have been changed. So many lives could have been changed if people had the right information. And, that's something that me and Minna wanted to share. It's like we wanted to share to people an outlet, a show where people can get unbiased information from specialists around the world on living a chronically healthy life. Because in the past, when you hear chronic, it's always been a bad thing. And we said, well, why does it need to be a bad thing? I think it could be a good thing. And, of course, we brainstormed with Christy, and that's where the title of the show came from. And one of the things we really want to inspire people is to live a long life where you can be sharing time with your loved ones, right? That was our vision 4 years ago. Obviously, things have changed a little bit, and I'll I'll talk about that near the end of the show. But it really was about trying to get a balance. It's not about just living a long time and dying in your bed for the last 10, 15 years like my dad did, or confined in a wheelchair. It was really about trying to people to have the amazing relationships, to have their business be successful, to have that community where you can call on and they can help you when you need help, and that's what you guys have become for me. And I'm so glad in these last 3 weeks you guys came together for that. And I know Minna, bless her soul, she's up there, she's beside me, whatever you guys want to believe religiously, you know, I know she's going to be with me forever. And she thanks all of you too. And she thanks all the viewers that's been watching every show, for the last 4 years. And of course, like Amanda says, when we first started, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. It was just a funny talk show that we wanted to share and share a little bit of our quirks. And over the 4 years, people got to know us a little bit. And people are looking at me right now. It's like, who's this guy talking? Is that Andy? Well, I'm rocking my ninja cut. This is how I met Minna, and this is how I'm going to be. From this point on. It's with a full head of hair, people thought, oh, you look younger. Well, that's not relevant to me anymore. Right? Life's changed a little bit, so this is new me. Just so people know, this is still Andy. Deep down inside, I'm the same. But our really vision was to touch as many people's lives as we can. And last year we said we want to touch 2 million people, and I think we can still hit that target. This will be our last show on the Chronically Healthy Life, as since my life partner is not going to be here with me anymore. But we will continue the Chronic Health Collective show. And, we're going to have a lot of amazing guests. There's going to be life-changing events that we're going to help people with.
Yeah. Yeah. Through this last 3 weeks, which have been extremely up and down emotional and just weirdness that goes on when you're in a grief process, I had this very strong feeling about um, how the collective really pulled together, and I, I can sort of, it's like standing at the mouth of a river that turns just a little way up there, and I can't see the whole thing, but I can see the beginning of it, and I feel like Minna, maybe people will think I'm crazy, but I feel like Minna is guiding us on the same path, but new. We're like a fork in the road, and we're going to take a different fork than we were originally going to take. And I think the vision is the critical thing. Is because really it's not about long life. That Andy and I have been talking about that a lot lately. It's not about length. It's about the quality. And and Minna is a shining example of a person who lived life to the fullest every minute. This They traveled, they ate out. They were fearless restaurant hunters. They did everything together. They enjoyed the time. They enjoyed each other. They enjoyed their friends. Enjoyed when they were forced to go visit family who might not be so nice. Which Andy's talked about somewhat. And that message is the critical thing, because it's about the quality. So that's what we hope to continue bringing forward. And Amanda, of course, I've been friends with Amanda for a long time too, and talk about quality, right, Andy?
Well, I just know that, I'm not a huge podcast watcher. That's not how I consume media. But I'll tell you, when things when everything started happening with the need for someone to step up, and because Andy and I've worked on so many other projects, podcasts, when we randomly go live on a scheduled thing every week, Andy sits on my show, I sit on his show. So we were sharing this streaming platform, and because of that, I was able to step up and help the collective to do the background, running the behind the scenes stuff. And I'll tell you, been some pretty amazing guests, and yeah, everybody needs to pay attention, because the coaches, even just talking with other coaches when we, just banter with each other, it's a really amazing content that is here, and there's so much to be learned. And I know Christy and I kept some other shows going and stuff, and it's like, "Ah, I got to talk to that person. What's their contact information? What do you mean you don't have their email? We got to track them down." So putting that together, and just you know, it's like they say, if you don't like how something's happening, then volunteer and find out how much work really goes into it. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for the work that has gone into each and every one of these podcasts. There's a lot of behind the scenes that y'all don't you don't have a clue about.
Yeah, no.
It's just amazing.
It is. We're going to pause there. You made me think of something we'll talk about when we come back. But right now, let's take a quick break and stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back.
Is your skin aging, dry, tired, and dull? Are you putting on more and more makeup to cover the fine lines and flaws? Now you don't have to. Coolness Skincare, developed by a middle-aged woman just like you. 2 years in formulating. Pearlescent face and eye serum cream with Schisandra berries and dragon's blood extract for your face, eye, and neck. And the vegan version, Deep Love Face Cream, featuring powerful blue tansy. This face cream is everything you are looking for. Feel your beauty. Visit coolness.com or scan the QR code for more information.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Chronically Healthy Life show. And welcome to our final episode of this show. You know, when when we were going through the drama with Minna, because it was a sudden and very unexpected thing, I was surprised, not surprised, because of the quality of people around us who stepped up. For example, well, Amanda, as you mentioned, you took on the backroom running of the show. Dawn stepped up to get the magazine out, and I personally had conversations with Jessica and Leandra, both about what was happening, and Andy too. I know Jessica, she's a trauma specialist, has stepped up. Everybody has stepped up in some form. As for the magazine, we should also tell you, the magazine, we're not stopping the magazine right now. We're going to just pause. The August issue will come out. And it just happened that it was my article that fell on this month. So if you read it, that's what I talked about in the article, is how the collective just pulled together and stepped up. And I can't even, I come from a background where I never got help with anything. So for me, this is an astounding experience, which maybe for other people it's not. But for me, it was, I can't even believe how amazing these people are. And Andy, naturally, he was in no, he still isn't in any shape to handle the burden. So, what a gift to have people that you know you can trust that will help you share the burden. That has been one of the gifts for me, this knowledge that's come out from this. So, it's just amazing.
I really just want to share something. When we started this whole show with you, Christy, and our vision got broader and broader, helping people. Minna always saw the best in people.
Yeah.
She always thought about helping others before herself. And she saw all of you, what a difference all of you can make in this world. When we're talking about who we want in the Chronic Health Collective, each one of you resonated in our hearts on how we know you're going to help change people's lives. Right. And even now, like I said, this journey started 4 years ago, and all we wanted was whoever watched it to make one small change in their life. Just one small change. You don't have to make a big change, right? One small change creates ripples forever, and the ripples make big changes, right?
Yeah.
And that's what this show is all about. That's why we created Chronic Health Collective, and that's really what all of you going to continue our legacy. We started, I guess we started a movement, a chronically healthy movement, and Min and I are hoping you can continue that legacy for us.
Oh, and with you.
Yeah. I will be on and off in the back end,
Yeah.
definitely on my own journey now, but we'll see. This isn't the last time you see Andy.
Oh, absolutely not.
We
And
just
and and
no,
for
Andy.
as Christy said, this the concept of grief, and I have long said grief is one of the most commonly experienced emotions, but it is the least understood. We there is not a timeline. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross in 1969 came up with the 5 stages of grief. And we talk about grief, and grief comes with any loss. Obviously, the loss of a life partner, the loss of a pet, the loss of a job, the loss of a best friend. Any loss comes with grief.
Mhm.
And there are those 5 stages. And they're not on a timeline. And they come and they go. And I know when I'm working with clients, I encourage everyone to feel the feels as they come up, and I loved the analogy, and I talk about it all the time. I saw this analogy a long, long time ago, and months ago we talked about this, Andy. It's the rock that's inside a jar. And there's 3 pictures. The rock is in the first jar like this. The rock nearly consumes the whole jar. And in the second picture, the rock stays the same. The jar is a little bigger. And in the final picture of that meme, the rock still is the same size and the jar is much bigger. The analogy to me is that grief is somewhat of a constant for us. That grief in the jar in the beginning, it just consumes us. And as we grow and we continue to experience, we grow around that grief. Grief it's always there to some extent. I was widowed almost 30 years ago, and I will tell you that grief comes and goes at the most random times. Sometimes standing in a checkout lane, sometimes sitting in the quiet.
Mhm.
And so I believe I speak for the whole collective, Andy. We all support you. And we all have our own grief too to go through. And I encourage anyone who's watching, as you're going through those stages of grief for whatever your grief is, be aware and express them and reach out. There is always someone there. You know, it can be your best friend, it can be clergy, it can be support groups. There's, be cautious of the online groups. That's Amanda coming out there. But just give yourself time and grace, because Andy, I know you have so much more. You have so much more to share. And
Yeah.
right now it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it, but I appreciate you coming on here tonight and helping everyone to understand and to share what we can to support you as well.
That's amazing, Amanda. And you know, if Minna's standing beside me right now, I know she'll ask, what are the 5 stages, Amanda? Because she wants to know what stage I am at this point.
Okay, well, those stages they come and go. So there is denial, denying that it happened. There is anger, being so angry that this happened. And anger, remember, anger is not a bad emotion, it's what we do with it. So find those healthy releases. There is bargaining. But if I did this, would you do that? If I did, bargaining the process. And there is depression. And depression, this is the phase that I caution that be aware. Depression is normal. But if it goes on or goes unchecked, that's when you really need to reach out to someone. And the 5th stage is acceptance. And acceptance sounds like this wonderful thing, like, okay, I understand it happened and there's nothing I can do. Those pop in and out, and you can still go through all of them. And you go through them, we can understand this, but as an employer, there's a 3-day policy. 3 days, get back to work. And when I was widowed, I was working part-time. They didn't have a policy. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know when to tell me to come back to work. But it's just, be honest with yourself. And yeah, those 5 stages, they come in and they go out.
And they're weird.
Oh, they are.
Grief is so weird. It's so weird. When I was, so I don't want to share the whole long story of me going there, but when I was on my way back, I had a layover at the Denver airport, and it was long. It was like 3 or 4 hours. And I was on the phone with a very good friend of mine, and I told her the story, Andy, of what we went through with Minna's passing. And a few days ago, now a couple weeks later, a few days ago, I said to her, "Oh, did I tell you a really good friend of mine passed away?" And she goes, "Are you serious right now?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "You need to go sleep right now." And she hung up on me. I had completely blanked that I had an entire conversation with her that was like a couple hours long already. And that's what I mean. It's weird. It's weird. We have to, that's why it's so important for us to give ourselves grace, but also to give others grace, because we do weird things when we're in grief and we don't even know. We don't.
Post-it notes need to become your best friend.
What?
Post-it notes.
Oh,
Write down things you do, things you need to do, those reminders, because
yeah.
physical care goes to the wayside. The daily things that we do, and it's important to have a routine and to have those things, and and have those people that we can reach out to, or the people that will reach out to you. And I know, for me, one of the things was, I lived in a very small community at the time, and nobody wanted to talk to me. Nobody wanted to say anything. And it was just like, I felt like I had a tattoo on my forehead. And for me, processing that grief, I felt like people avoided me because they were afraid of saying something stupid. And I'm like, man, I would rather 10 people say something stupid to me than to ignore me.
Mm,
That was my personal experience.
yeah.
Because people don't know what to say. They don't want to upset you. They think they're caring, but but they make us feel ostracized.
Yeah. And
Agreed. Agreed. I think a lot of people didn't realize what type of relationship me and Minna had, and some of the things they say, let's just say, doesn't come across very well, and I'll leave it at that. You, you, you know, uh,
I
but
won't. One of the really obnoxious things that people have been saying to Andy 3 weeks after his wife has passed is, "Oh, you'll find someone else." Please don't do that. No, no. That's just, to me, that feels actually cruel. Um, like, oh, that doesn't really matter. Just move on. It does. We that's why we give ourselves grace. It just isn't. It's not fair. It's not realistic.
Okay, that stupid thing people don't need to say.
Yeah,
No.
that's
Yeah.
a.
No. That one is just too stupid. But to
Well,
say
give
but
them a
to
hug.
say you will find a new groove, you will find a different, it's renewed, it's different, and you're going to find it on your own time frame.
Yeah,
Don't compare your grief to my grief or to anyone else's. It's yours.
exactly.
agreed.
Live it the way it makes sense to you to process.
And if all else fails, just give them a hug and keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
That's a good policy for lots of things. Not
For lots of things. Yes. Yes. For lots of things.
all right. Well, listen, I think everybody, we're going to take a real quick break here. So please stay tuned, and we'll be right back with the rest of the Chronically Healthy Life show.
Why do 98% of beauty enthusiasts rave about coolness? It's all in the blend of ancient wisdom and modern science. Introducing Coolness, Pearlescent Face and Eye Serum Cream. This powerhouse combines the antioxidative power of schisandra berries, the glow of pearl powder, and the hydrating wonders of dragon's blood extract. It's like a time machine for your skin, making it radiant, firm, and oh so smooth. Inspired by ancient Chinese traditions and backed by modern nutritional science, this serum cream is perfect for dry, mature, and aging skin. It's time to unlock your inner glow with Coolness. Treat your skin to the best of both worlds today.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Chronically Healthy Life show. So I was thinking about the ways that we could honor our loved ones when they pass. And Andy has found a very special and unique way to honor Minna. Andy, would you like to share that?
There's so many ways I love to honor Minna. One of the things that I love everyone to know more about was Minna was very talented in music, and it was something that was not encouraged upon with her parents, but she was always talented at a young age. And if you were at her celebration of life, even her best friend told you at 6 years old she was already crazy talented, and her mom suppressed that for many, many years. When we came to Texas 5 years ago, she decided to pursue back music, and she has created so many songs that I didn't even know that she created. She created enough to fill an album. And one of the things that our dear nephews bias in calling them that. They're literally our kids. We treat them as our kids. We've taken care of them since high school, and you know, we don't have kids. We got cats, but if we're talking about kids, those nephews are our kids. They were able to put together an album called "Where Her Heart Still Sings," which really resonates because we put her whole album together. Now it's streaming on Apple Music, it's streaming on Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music. It's on all the major platforms. This is something Minna always wanted to do, but she was just too shy to promote it. And I really, really encourage people to download the album. Just search for Minna Wong, Where Her Heart Still Sings, and play it. The music is so emotional, heartfelt, and uplifting all at the same time. One of our Chronic Health Collective coaches is, well, let's not name his name, okay? He might get mad at me. But let's just say he's a real-time healer, all right? And I've been playing the music in my home since Minna has passed, since it's been streaming. And he says there's real-time healing in this music. There's real-time healing in this music. So for all those that believe in the power of music healing your heart, you know, healing your emotions, or maybe needing a little bit of uplifting or missing a loved one, I definitely encourage you all to download her album. You know,
Mm.
right? The next thing that I'm doing, and I have to thank you all that has helped make this a reality. Is most people will bury their loved ones or cremate their loved ones. Minna was so much more to me than putting her in the ground or putting her on a shelf. I want her to be with me wherever I go from this point on. And you know, one of the ways that I wanted to remember her, or how do you say it, Christy?
Memorialize.
Memorialize Minna's memory is I am creating a diamond out of her ashes, and so many people have come in and gave me donations, and you know, people that me and Minna met 15 years, 20 years ago, and I'm getting all these comments. You made a difference the first time we talked over a table, and it's just amazing how many lives we have touched over these 15 years in this health journey, that we want people to live a chronically healthy life. And from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of our soul, I really thank you all for your kind words, your donations, um, making this a reality, because that is just one of the things that is just so important to me, to memorialize her. And diamond is her birthstone, and I'm going to try to make it purple. They say it's not possible, but we'll see what happens. There's a lot of things that me and Min have done over the years. We've been together for 38 years, and we have done the impossible. And keep watching. There's a lot that I'll be doing over the next little while. Um, as I figure things out, like Amanda says, I'm on a new journey, and we'll see where that journey leads Andy. But no, I thank everyone from the bottom of my heart for helping me memorialize Minna. And we're so close to matching the target, and we don't, that's okay too. For me, it was just a way for people to just remember Minna, and hopefully how she's touched their lives.
One of the best things we can all do is live, make a choice every day to do a little better than you did the day before. At, that's the most all any of us can really do. But if Minna inspires any of us to do a little better today than we did yesterday, then we can think of her with that, as we used to say back in the 70s, that warm fuzzy, the warm fuzzies, with the warm fuzzies. Uh, so I I kind of want to know. Let's talk about. I mean, Andy, I don't even know if you can count the number of gifts that Minna's been to you in your life. Um, but if you could pick, if you could pick something, you want to think about it. I mean, you guys, Andy and Minna have been together since they were 18.
Yeah.
They met in high school and have been inseparable ever since. And so I don't even know if you can choose one thing. We
You
can start.
know, as I look through life, every moment she was with me was a gift. You know, every moment she spent with me was helping me realize my dreams. And this was something that I didn't share at the celebration of life. And I will share here now briefly. I'm not going to go into detail. But, when me and Minna first started dating, we weren't meant to be together. We came from different worlds and it was supposed to be short lived. But our lives started from my car accident. It was a car accident that nearly took me. And now I found out it happened right around my sister-in-law's birthday. That Minna actually left the middle of the birthday to see me in the hospital. So from that time on, we were joined at the hip. Everything we did was a decision we made together, and that is a relationship that I really encouraged everyone to thrive to have. If you're in a relationship, you should be learning to love each other more and more each day. It should not be going the other direction. So many people's relationship, they become best friends and then they become roommates by the time they get old. That's not how love should be. Love should be growing year by year. And so many people's been asking how Minna's passed. All I can say is she did not pass naturally. Our relationship started with an accident, and it ended in a horrible accident that was medical related, and that's all I'll leave it at. And it breaks my heart, you know. Something that could have been totally prevented has taken the love of my life. But I was asking Amanda the 5 stages of grief. Number 2 was a hard one. If I was younger, 30 years before Minna met me, there'll be many holes in my house right now. I'll be punching holes in the walls. So number 2, anger, was a hard one. I didn't quite understand what number 3 is. I am trying to jump number 4, and number 5 is hopefully where I'm striving to get at now. And I think for anyone that is facing grief, that is probably the one that is going to be hardest for people to accept, right? And if anything, what me and Minna have done for everyone out there is like, life happens, and one of the things Minna always said is shitty things happen to good people. But shitty things happen for us to learn a life lesson. And there are life lessons in every shitty thing that happens. I'm still trying to figure out that life lesson, guys. Or girls. I'm still trying to figure it out.
You don't have to figure it out.
I'm sure that it's there. If anything, maybe it's to help me get a little bit more faith again. But life's tough. And like what Minna was saying. Yeah, she's saying that with me right now. Is living life with purpose is really what's important. When we talk about chronically healthy life, we miss the point. Living with purpose, and that's really what I want to add to this now is for all of us to find a little bit of purpose. It doesn't have to be a grand plan. We don't have to change the world, but just to have a little bit of purpose each day to move towards that, I think would make living life a long time a lot more meaningful. You know,
Mhm.
I hope I didn't go too out there with that.
You're good. Well, how about you, Amanda? If you could pick one thing that Minna gave you that you consider a gift?
She believed in me when I don't know that I did, and she gave me confidence to continue to do what I find the most joy in doing and helping other people in life.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, that driving force of, you know, and in one of our panels with Chronic Health Collective, Minna had put in the backroom chat because we were all supposed to ask each other a question, and nobody was following the rules. And Minna put in this question, and it was like, if what you did was a smoothie, like
Yes,
if
I
your belief
remember that.
system was a smoothie. And I thought, well, that's a really stupid question. Who would ask that? And I got to thinking, it's like, oh, I know exactly what this is. And so I put it all in and I made this whole thing. And then nobody was looking at Minna's question and they all started asking other questions. I was like, no, I have the perfect answer. And so I think I messaged you, Chrissy, in like the back office because when you're on a podcast, if you've never been on a podcast, there's chats that go on, but not everybody sees it. You have to find the person who's looking at it. Somebody asked me this question. And it was so wonderful because I was able to put down the foundations of essentially my healing platform of being grounded and sprinkles of love and everything. And actually it's been a whole thing that I have done is my elixir. I mean, it's even become a workshop thing that I do and all kinds of things. So it Minna's question has inspired me to, kind of have this whole I have a workshop, I have a lecture that I do, and it all came from her question in a podcast.
That is just
So
so amazing. She always saw the best in everyone, and she always encouraged everyone to be themselves, and thank you for sharing. I know Minna is smiling up there with that she has helped you have more confidence in yourself, Amanda. That's amazing.
yeah. And then
Oh,
I always
any
end things
questions?
I end things a lot with an angel card. And so I drew an angel card while we were talking here. And I think it's really appropriate. And Andy, you know the angels never lie. The angel of health. My whole being is healthy and filled with the energy of love. The source of true health is our inner divinity. The loving energy that nourishes our being is always available to heal any deviation of forgetfulness that would result in sickness or disease. Visualize now any area of your body or your life that needs to be healed. See it being showered with the healing transformation of light and love.
That's beautiful.
I think that's wonderful. So,
Yeah. I think that's the perfect note for us to end on, folks. So we want to thank everybody from the bottoms of our heart for following us for the last 4 years on the Chronically Healthy Life. We are going to continue the Chronic Health Collective. We will be showing some of our favorite episodes over the next
Yes.
few weeks
Yes.
while we pause and we regroup and we take a little time to go through our grief and figure things out with. And in my case, I'm kind of waiting for my brain to turn back on again. So
It is so true, Christy. You know, one of the things that I was talking to you about is how can we memorialize Minna more. Oh man, that is one
that's
hard word for my
that's a tough.
Chinglish to say. Um, you know, I have so many friends and colleagues of Minna come out and ask me. I didn't even know Minna had a TV show. You know, it's like I didn't know she was a host. And what I wanted to share starting next week, probably for the next few weeks, this is going to be our last episode for the Chronically Healthy Life, but on the Chronic Health Collective, as you know, our collective coaches are rebooting and grieving during this time, we are going to play all the episodes that Minna was a co-host or host interviewing people, so people can watch her quirkiness, see how she brings out the best in people, how she actively listens to people and call them out on things. You know, that's just the way she always was. She calls on bullshit when she hears it, but then she also draws people's strengths out when people are too shy to share it, right? And you know, that's what we're going to be doing on the Chronic Health Collective, which airs every Tuesday at 7 p.m. CST. You know, and it's going to be airing all of Minna's past episodes, and then you know we'll get back onto the regular schedule with you know more amazing things as our coaches reboot and share new things for you know the coming year and beyond.
Definitely. So again, everybody, we thank you, thank you, thank you. And we wish everyone to live the most unapologetically, chronically healthy life that you can envision, that you can manifest, and that you can just be. And thank you for joining us. And we'll still see you on Tuesdays at 7 Central Time with the
Thank
collective.
you all for all the viewers that follows Chronically Healthy Life for the last 4.5 years. It's been an honor for us being here with you, and catch us on the Chronic Health Collective. Ciao.
Ciao.